Hey folks, welcome back to our third day of filming, I believe. It's April 16th, 2020. I wanted to say up front now, because I've been reminded by my son to say like, share, and subscribe. If we had a million subscribers, I wouldn't have to use this old bow saw held together by a nail. I wanted to go over a little bit about what we're doing with the bow saw over here today. This is our pile's growing a little bit since the last time we filmed. We're still cutting a lot of this here stuff, the gray birch. You can see by the diameter that I have here, a lot of this stuff is fairly small. Now, there's some reasons for that, and I've been explaining to my son that what we're doing here with these hand tools is probably going back, into the 1800s kind of era, before the advent of chainsaws and stuff like that, because not many people really nowadays would be doing this with hand tools. Now, we happen to not own a chainsaw at the moment, and if we had the million subscribers, then we wouldn't need to use this old bow saw and we'd go buy one. Anyways, we're doing it all by hand, which, like I say, I'm not sure who's going to benefit a whole lot from this information, because of not many people are actually probably doing this anymore. But we do this with a lot of smaller diameter stuff like this because it's a lot easier to go and saw through this stuff. It takes me with the bow saw only a matter of a few seconds to get through something like this, and that's not all that hard to go and do a nice bit of this firewood. Also, later in the year, when it comes to splitting it, there's not a whole lot of wood down in here that I'd actually have to split. Most of it you can see. Let me see now. There might be one over here, something of that diameter there, that I might actually have to go and split with a splitting axe. And that's one of the other tools we'll show you later in the year. When it comes to it, you do your splitting in the fall when the weather's cold, and it makes it a lot easier to come through the wood than if you were to try to do it when it's green. So this time of year, all you're doing is sawing your links, piling them up off the ground to keep them out of the moisture. And those small links, again, are actually ideal for us because it makes this a lot easier using a bow saw to go through it all. Now, over here, it's what remains of last year's pile. We cut this last fall, probably late summer into late fall. And you'd notice, if you come a little closer, a lot of this stuff here is maple that we have. This is a good look at a maple. You want to come right up. The bark, it's got that grayish, smooth kind of grayish look. A lot of this stuff also is smaller diameter. Okay, that's good. What we've been doing here generally is we've been cutting from clumps of maple trees. Okay, and that way, I'll show that later, I guess, when we go over to a stand of maple. I'll show you what we're pulling down from maple trees. But we're trying to leave the largest trunks there, obviously, because those are the ones that are going to mature for maple syrup the earliest. And so a lot of the stuff that we're cutting are the smaller trunks in a clump of maple. And that's why we still have fairly small diameter maple over here. And then a lot of this stuff, the maple would be predominant in this pile from last fall, because we're cutting it at a time when I think it's probably going to injure the maple trees the least. This time of year, maple syrup starts to run, and if I were to go around and start cutting at all my maple clumps, I could probably do major damage to them if they start, losing sap like that at this time of year. So the maple is, however, preferable over the birch that we have. It's a better firewood, it's harder, and it lasts longer. So the more maple we can get every fall, the better it's going to be for our firewood. The more of this stuff that we cut each fall and put aside. When we're now in the spring, like I say, because we're restricted and we can't even cut the maple, we're really restricted to cutting this old birch. And that birch is going to have to be seasoned and burned this winter, because by another winter it's probably going to be no good. Now, in speaking about the diameter again, you can see we can get through those trees pretty well. If I pull out something like this though, now birch isn't as hard to cut through as maple, but that's a fair size diameter, and you'll see this takes a little bit more effort to go through. So I'm going to do my 3 pieces of wood again. 1, 2, and about 3 here. And I think it's just because the diameter gives more resistance along that saw blade. It takes a lot more effort to go and cut through this larger size stuff. And then at the end of it, if I have a lot of large size or large diameter wood, then I have to do more splitting also. Now you do want to have some stuff that you want to split each fall because it's going to make it easier to pile, and we'll come to that some other day. But hard time there. That takes a lot more out of me than cutting through stuff like that there. So that's it for today. I think I'll show you the maple stand on the next video and show you how we went through it last fall and started thinning it to give you an idea of where this pile would have come from, and then we'll take it from there. So thank you for watching today.